Hello, this is Shankara Dawal, and today I am going to make a video on the origin of Hindu astrology. I mean, these are little snippets which I have tried to gather and try to understand that what is it that makes Hindu astrology what it is today, and till what time we can go back to civilization is the Harappa civilization, and that is very well documented now. A lot of things have been deciphered, a lot of things have not been deciphered. So it is the Harappa civilization which talks a lot of things, has a lot of symbols which are actually related to astrology. And before Harappa civilization, a lot of things have been told about astrology, mathematics, logics, which is there in the Rig Vedas. And we really do not know when the Rig Vedas had actually come into existence. Harappa civilization is known, but Rig Vedas was something which was written by seers, by people of various civilizations, and they had a very good idea of astronomy, astrology, the astrology particles, the way they used to, mention it. So that is where it actually started from, and the origin of Rig Veda is something which still remains a kind of a thing which cannot be, which has not been able to be traced over a period of time. And it is also very clear that astrology is not that it has come only from India or one country. I mean, it is the Aryan civilization, which all the Aryans, I shouldn't say the Aryan civilization, the Aryans which had come to settle between the seven seas, which were there in India and around, and it is very clear that the Dravidians were there, and there were certain other races which were also there, like we call them the proto or the Astroloids. Proto and the Astroloids, along with Dravidians, were also there, and there was a tendency of people to mix, cultures to mix, and the knowledge to be enhanced. So that is where is the first trace of a little bit of things like astrology and the idea of moon which was there. Now the idea of moon, the idea of waxing moon and the waning moon, which was known as Kubu, Kubu, and Raka, Raka, Kubu and the Raka. And Raka was the full moon, and Kubu was the new moon, and that is how it was addressed. And this moon, the way it was either worshipped or was understood that there is a phenomenon in the moon, was found in the customs found in a country known as Polynesia, Polynesi, Polynesia, and this was their custom which was there. And all these things came and found a tunnel into the Rig Vedas, and Rig Vedas were then adopted by the Aryans, where the Dravidians and the other smaller civilizations merged into it, and what we call we call them as the Puranic tradition. And there also, if I get into details, if the word Kala, I mean, Kala is very important in astrology, and Kala is 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, and 1/64. The word Kala, which was found in the Vedic texts, had also in my thought and my reading actually came from the Greek civilization, and that is where this particular idea of 1/4, 1/8, 1/16 came from the Greek civilization, while the arithmetic which was developing was more developing with the in the valley with the Rig Veda, and more hymns coming into Rig Veda. So this is how I would say that the progression of astrology was slowly taking place, but I really don't know from where the infrastructure of astrology at that time took place, because let's understand that the civilization which was there, I mean, if you look at the Rig Vedas, they were profound symbols. They were profound logics where some seers knew about it, and they understood it, which was also, slowly adopted by the Egyptians and the Greeks. They also started deciphering it and understanding it. And then into this Aryan civilization, there was a great influence of the Babylonian civilization. The Babylonian civilization was very critical, and it is in the Babylonian civilization they had things like head of the Ram. I mean, HEADOFTHERAM, head of the Ram. The word Ram was there, and the mouth of the twins. So these were the words which was there in their language in the Babylonian civilization. And the peculiar part of it is that they started calling the nakshatra, seeing the nakshatra or the constellations of today. I will not use the word nakshatra because it was not there at that time. That the constellations they started seeing in the sky as clubbed together, like they said the three stars together, and they called it Mrigasiras, the series of three faint stars. They called it the series of three faint stars and called it Mrigasiras. So this actually came from the Babylonian civilization. But we still do not know from where this whole thing of constellation and the division of the zodiac into 12 signs actually came in, and from where did it come in. The Rig Veda progressed itself, and a lot of arithmetic got into the astronomy. A lot of people, a lot of scientists and a lot of sages which are Indian and people who are also Chinese in origin, they had understood the symbols of Rig Veda and did a lot of predictions. And perhaps the way they did it and how they did it, it actually vanished with them. And it was, the word in Rig Veda, there is a mention of solar eclipse by Rishi Atri. I mean, you would have all heard about the 7 rishis. So one of the rishis, Atri, had talked about the solar eclipse, or I don't know if it was with the Rishi Atri, but there was Atri which is mentioned as talking about solar eclipse in the Rig Veda hymn, and he talks about Svarabhanu, Svarbhanu. Svarbhanu is a kind of a paraphrase there, and the Ved, which is hymn of Svarabhanu in the Rig Veda, was later known as Rahu. In Rig Veda also there is a situation where it is shown that the 5 horses are driving a particular 5. I think it's not horses. The 5. It is certainly not 5 bulls are driving a chariot, and these 5 bulls were the 5 planets, and that is how the whole thing came into this thing. And slowly during that time, the issue of Devayana and Pitrayana came in, which was nothing but the two ayanas, Ainamshas which we did. So it is in that civilization of Rig Veda and the enhancement of the Rig Veda after the Aryan civilization, after the Aryans came in, and with the mix of the Babylonian, Greek, the Egypt and the Chinese civilization, there was an increase in the whole understanding of astrology, and more so understanding the symbols of which were there during the Mohenjo-daro Harappa civilization. Then after what I see is then came a period when then suddenly there has been a gap, and that was the time when Alexander came into India, and Buddhism got a lot of importance. It was it was the age of Alexander and the age of Buddhism. And also from the Rig Veda we migrated to the next Ved, which is the Yajur Ved. And it is in Yajur Ved that the constellation got divided into 27 parts or 28 parts. Also there I see while reading the old scriptures that it was in some case it was Ashwani, which was it is always a Kritika, it was not Ashwani ever. It is Kritika, which is the first nakshatra, which was told in the early Hindu system. And then also like a lot of hymns were written, and it was all in the form of poetry, where astrology developed. And in case of astrology, which is developed during this system, which is the post Rig Veda and the post Yajur Veda and after Alexander, but there is a gap in between. A lot of things were lost in between, I suppose. That's my reading of things. They were lost in between, and it is only in this Yajur Veda and post the understanding of developing of certain parts of Rig Veda which remained. They were either lost, either people disappeared. I don't want to go in details, but something happened. So then it is only then when Yajur Veda came, the whole concept of constellations came into this thing. The nakshatras came into being, and also it was the planets like Jupiter, and these are all hymns. If you look at Yajur Veda, the Jupiter is called as as a poet of poets, the lords of lords, and the hymns of all hymns. So that is how it has been addressed. And this even this astrology was again a kind of a monopoly of a group of people, priestly people or Brahman people, or and they were given specific names. Those who did this Vedanga Jyotish, they were given specific Brahmanic names. And though we were all also in the initial stages, a lot of importance were given to the solar system, but astrology was based on most of the lunar system, and and slowly what happened is, even in this, whatever was the astrology was very precise and very good. It was based on nakshatras, it was based on some planets, it was based on some things which were known from the Harappa civilization, something which were known from the Rig Vedas, and it was a fairly good science. But again in the hands of few people it was there and then disappeared for a long time. And it's only after the 5th century BC and a period after that, that is when the Greeks came into India, and a lot of water has flown after that. The thing which was found, and which again made astrology and people found interest in astrology, were the palm leaves of the legendary Bhrigu Sangita. So this is how then again from those people started deciphering methods and understanding, and making basic astrology was made into a particular science, which was also an infrastructure was made around it. The hardware was developed around the software, and there were a group of Brahmins known as the Magha Brahmins who started specializing into doing this. And then of course we have the Varameher and Parashar and other people who had also come into work for astrology. But there is astrology has developed, has lost itself, and there is a lot of missing links in terms of how even the saints of pre Mohenjo-daro Harappa civilization, and during the Rig Veda's time, they could accurately do things, and what was the basis of those things. So it's always there that astrology is a sacred science, and you of course need a lot of intuition, understanding, and it's not only stars, it is the constellation, it is the focus of constellations which is there, We are particles of various stars, which I believe, and there is a great equation in the consciousness, which where nothing is lost, no energy is lost. Even if we die, I mean, we are not lost. And that energy, how it reproduces itself, how it propagates itself, how it pollinates itself, that's still a missing link. And I'm sure one day, maybe I'm not there, but it will come out in the open. So this is what I wanted to tell you about what I've read a little bit about astrology. And so this is it for today. Thanks for now. You can go to my site, shankarstudy.com. You have my personal site, shankaradavar.com. You cannot contact me, connecting minds at gmail.com. My books are at Sagar Publication. You can share my video with others. Please like my video if you like it. I do astrology as a love of it for the last 40 years. It's a hobby for me. I am not a professional. I do answer a lot of queries, but which are serious, but I get a lot of mundane, non-serious queries. I get a lot of arrogant people who want to pay me a lot of money. There are people who come and leave money and go, but that also makes me think that anything which is free doesn't have value. So one day I'll start charging and use the money for a better purpose, so that your karma and my karma and the end result is also good, and helps us out. Thank you, and bye for now. This is Shankar signing.